Hey, what's going on, guys? Just verify you can hear me. Awesome, awesome. Hope you guys are doing good and having a great Monday. It's going to be a great stream, so definitely looking forward to it. Make sure to like the live stream, guys, if you like it. Again, it's going to be a great stream. And you can subscribe to Gem Hunters if you are not. Great channel. We provide a lot of good updates here. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So, seeing everyone in the chat here. What's going on, Oliver? What's going on, Zid, Junior, Lior, Men of Valor, Sugar, Cena, Christian, Userman, Sino, Yvonne, Bayo, Peter, Corpus, Mirza, Skanor. A lot of good people in here, guys. Good to have you here. So first, let's start off with liquidation heat map. So this is a big one because we've been talking about it with our market updates, and I mentioned that I'm expecting us to at least take liquidation out to the upside before any pullback. And a couple of reasons for that I mentioned in my Bitcoin analysis as well is, one, the strength is looking great, right? I said if we can close the daily above 107K, I'm targeting 110K next. And that we are very well on our way to doing. And so, again, you cannot ignore strength. You cannot ignore what Bitcoin has been doing over the weekend, which is a low liquidity weekend, historically volatile, while a war is going on and Bitcoin's holding above 105K. I mean, that strength is something that I think most people overlooked and is probably the pivotal point for Bitcoin's adoption moving forward. This solidified Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, flight to safety, digital gold, everything, right? It solidified its spot as a global currency asset. And now what we're seeing across the market is full-on adoption. And so a lot of it's going on behind the scenes. People aren't even aware how significant this past weekend just was. But guys, like, I cannot stress how bullish we are about to get. I would definitely, you know, let everyone know that you should buy at these support levels. If you get any pullback, dips are for buying. Look for strength versus BTC because everything is about to send over these next few weeks. So it's going to be pretty crazy. But yeah, this is very bullish. Looking for even up to 108.6K. Again, we do have a lot of liquidations down around even 104K. So it would not surprise me if there's any type of major event that causes us to make that flush. But like I said, dips are for buying, so that's where I will be targeting. Now, looking at the 24-hour liquidation. So 216 million today, nothing too crazy. But as expected, a majority of those are shorts, 150 million. So this is what it shows, is a lot of shorts were expecting us to go down this weekend. I was actually talking with a lot of people and in my groups, and I was saying, guys, you know, ETH is still looking bullish, still looking good. And they're saying, why would you buy it here in the middle of a war? Like, they told me all this stuff. And again, it's one of those things where experience pays, right? If you have the experience, you've been through it, you know these FUD events are for buying. Most people get too caught up in their certain type of analysis that they cannot see possibly, you know, anything pumping during a war. But you guys, you got to look at relative strength. You got to look at how the market is reacting. Don't look at the news. Look at how the market reacts to the news. That's some alpha that you guys should remember. Don't look at the news. Look at how the market reacts to the news. Pay attention, right? So that's a big thing I wanted to instill with you guys. But yeah, good to see at least we are seeing some more price action to the upside. Now, let's talk about some big news items, okay? So let's go all the way back to June 10th. So from June 10th, we have the $800 billion asset manager Bernstein says its $200,000 Bitcoin price prediction for 2025 is conservative. So here you have a lot of people who are big institutions that are actually giving these outlandish price targets. And I say outlandish, not because it's unrealistic. I just say because it's, you know, obviously a lot higher than where we're at now. And yes, we could still go there. But for calling for 200,000, it is, a little high, but I mean, it's not out of the question. This is more realistic. CNBC says Bitcoin is primed for a surge to fresh all-time highs above 130K. This I can get behind, especially if we cross above that weekly signal line or that weekly trend line that we've been below since 2018, the one that's intersecting around 112K. And so keep that in mind, there is a lot of people and institutions calling for much higher. Obviously, their bags are packed because they have clients who are in it and a lot of their money is in it. But nonetheless, that creates that self-fulfilling prophecy when you have everyone calling for higher. So keep an eye on that. And next, you have SEC saying it could approve the Solana ETF within the next month. Bloomberg reports. This is big as well because a Solana ETF is just creating hype for the Sol ecosystem. And so, I mean, I believe they said it could be approved within 3 to 5 weeks. And so it's been gaining a lot of hype for Solana. I know the stream yesterday, people were telling me to check Solana as it was pumping like crazy. And so we also have the Pump Fund launch, which I believe should be within the next few weeks. I mean, it should be pretty soon. That's going to create more hype for Solana, more bridging over, more hype for meme coins, and then eventually causing a shift over to altcoins. And so you can't ignore the strength, right? You still got to, where attention goes, money flows. And so you have to be able to pay attention to the strength. But at the same time, you still have to notice that or realize that once the attention dies from Solana, where's it going to go? It's going to go towards Ethereum. It's going to go towards a utility play. So keep that play in the back of your mind because there's always another move to be had. And also you have a few other positive developments with one, Paul Tudor Jones, billionaire, saying buying Bitcoin is one of the best ways to fight inflation. So this is where you have these huge institutional players and these huge billionaires that are very, very bullish on Bitcoin. And this is one of those things where you can see, again, as more of these people talk about it, the more bullish Bitcoin is going to get and the more adoption that's going to happen with other countries, other nation states. I mean, we just saw the U.S. actually solidify, I believe, their SBR registration. I want to say we'll talk about that as well. But that's another thing that is big in the news, which we'll go over. And then also we have Bank of America saying the bank is developing its own stablecoin. So we have the stablecoin bill actually, which is supposed to pass tomorrow. So that's something to keep in mind. And then also we have Elon Musk and Trump actually making up. So this is big because I know there's a lot of drama last week about Elon Musk and Trump. They had a big disagreement, posted a lot of things online, but now you had Elon Musk actually issue a public apology to Trump, and Trump actually say they're friends. And so we'll never know exactly what was at the core focus of that disagreement, but nonetheless, having them together is much, much better than having them apart. The market loves it, and we're seeing that, with what we've seen the past week with the reaction accordingly. So great to see this. Again, great to see them work it out, settle it like men. That's what needs to happen more in this world. Now, speaking of the crypto stablecoin bill, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says crypto stablecoins could lock in US dollar dominance. And so the crypto stablecoin bill, the Genius Act, is very, very bullish for Ethereum. And let me connect the dots for you guys. So the two biggest stablecoins in the world, USDC and USDT, they run on what? ERC20. ERC20 is Ethereum's network. If there's a lot of transactions going on Ethereum's network, there's going to be a lot of fees generated. When fees are generated, Ethereum's used. Ethereum is ended up burned because of the EIP 1558 mechanism. And from there, Ethereum becomes very, very deflationary. Anyone who knows standard economics, supply goes down, demand goes up, price rockets. So don't ignore the crypto stablecoin bill. A lot of people are. This is going to be extremely bullish for Bitcoin, and I cannot wait to see it. It's going to take a few months to play out, but nonetheless, having it passed is going to be a big accomplishment in and of itself. And then also, we have a few other developments on the macro front. So Trump is saying he will not fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell, which is good, right? That would create more turmoil in the markets, more arguments against him. I do know that Trump was calling for a 1-point interest rate cut a few days ago. And so he's very adamant about cutting interest rates because that would help the market pump. But Jerome Powell is adamant about not cutting them too early because that could create some destabilization. And so you have, again, this battle that's going on. I mean, what do you want to do first? But the big thing I want to say is as long as Powell doesn't make it political, right? As long as he's literally doing it for the economy based on the data and not anything else, then I can still get behind that. I think most people have been desensitized to the fact that we're not going to have interest rate cuts for a while. And I think right now the closest projection is August or September. And so there's like a 3% chance it's going to get cut this Wednesday, June 18th. And so with that, I would say just, yeah, just, you know, it's just one of those news items that it's another catalyst in the future, which is positive. And so this will be one of those things like little carrot in the stick, right? And so you're just dangling this carrot in front of people that they're going to cut interest rates eventually. They're going to cut them eventually. And so it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then at that point, everyone who's buying the rumor may sell the news, but nonetheless, we're going to see the market pump from it. So it's going to be great to see on that front. Also, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says he's not planning to leave the company anytime soon. Now, this is really good because this guy has been a big proponent of Bitcoin. He's the one that was the reason for the Bitcoin ETF passing whenever he applied for it in October of 2023, even during a very hawkish period with the Fed chair, with Gary Gensler, right, who's historically against crypto, suing everyone. Whenever BlackRock comes and lays down the law, then you know it's time to play. And they applied for the Bitcoin ETF. Their record was, I believe, 577 to 1. After that, I think it was 578 to 1 because the ETF got approved. And then they applied for the Ethereum ETF. That got approved. So whatever BlackRock says goes. They have 10 trillion assets under management. They control a majority of the companies in the U.S. They have a majority share. And so they're basically the puppeteer, and everyone else is the puppets. And so like them or hate them, they're a big proponent of crypto because they have a lot. They bought a lot for their clients. I believe was it 42, 43 million? They bought a lot for their clients. And so they want to see everyone win. Therefore, they're going to keep pushing this. They're going to keep pushing the tokenization of assets, RWA. And so, yeah, this is very, very bullish. Also, we have Coinbase partnering with American Express to launch Coinbase One Card, offering up to a 4% back in Bitcoin on all purchases. Now, I know everyone here loves to have credit cards. If you're still young and you don't have one yet, I would say get one, just a standard one, maybe a standard bank card, but get something to start building your credit. But make sure you have discipline because obviously credit cards, you can go into a lot of debt if you spend the money that you don't have. With that said, the Coinbase One Card, there's a couple of stipulations on this. Is you need to be a Coinbase One Prime member. And then obviously to get the maximum percentage back, I believe you need to have a lot of USDC staked or at least held on the Coinbase platform. And so there's always stipulations, right? Always a catch, but it's an okay card. If you're good with it and you already have a lot of money on Coinbase, 4% back is really good. So I think even they may even do 4.5% back depending on how much you have on the platform. But nonetheless, I mean this isn't a bad card, but there's probably better stuff that's going to come out this year. So always do your research beforehand. And then let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. So Israel and Iran war. This is what's been on everyone's plate for the past 4 or 5 days. And I just want to cover this a little bit. I'm not going to get political on this. I'm going to stay agnostic. But the matter of the fact is Trump was concerned that Iran was developing nuclear weapons. And I know this has been an argument for a while, but he was concerned that they were still doing it. And even though, he was telling them explicitly not to, and there were restrictions against it. From that, he gave Iran 60 days to basically form an agreement, develop some agreement, negotiation that would basically solidify that they're not going to have nuclear weapons. He gave them 60 days. And during that time as well, just, as that 60 days was coming up, Israel said, or gave it even another deadline. And they gave a deadline last week, I believe last Friday. They said, hey, coming Sunday, if you don't come to an agreement, we're going to strike Iran. And so what happened was actually that Friday, most people were unaware, was actually day 61 of that agreement that Trump made with Iran. And Israel ended up attacking Iran that Friday. And so, or it may have been Saturday morning in their country. But nonetheless, they ended up attacking them, more so of a surprise attack. And that's actually what caused the markets to tumble. And unfortunately, we just missed the long. I mean, I longed Ethereum beforehand because I knew it was just FUD with this war stuff. They attacked, and that was actually the time to long there. But again, won't get into that. But nonetheless, that created a lot of fear in the markets. And since then, Iran has attacked Israel. They attacked Tel Aviv, a few hypersonic missiles. Israel attacked Iran's oil refineries, actually killed a lot of their high-level officials, and destroyed a lot of their nuclear bases. So I believe, more or less the goal has been achieved of, deproliferating them, if you will, for their nuclear arsenal. But also, you still have escalations with Iran saying, get ready for a major attack, saying basically they're going to attack U.S. bases and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a constant back and forth, and both sides haven't really backed down. And that's why I was very surprised to see Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies hold up during this time, during this whole back and forth, right? And we'll get into a few other details. But the matter of the fact is both sides aren't backing down, and so it's not good for anyone. I want this war to stop on both sides. But it's just one of those things where, again, Trump kind of gave the okay for Israel to attack on Friday. And so there's just all these strategic games going on. But at the end of the day, I do think Iran will come to the table, come to the negotiating table. But I'm just hoping it's sooner rather than later, so it's not drawn out like the Russia-Ukraine war is. But yeah, you can just see a lot of stuff was going on here. Now, to kind of switch gears a little bit, we had Trump Media's SEC registration for its Bitcoin treasury is officially effective. And so the Trump Media, I believe, wanted to purchase 2 to 2.5 billion of Bitcoin for its treasury. And as far as the SEC registration is concerned, I mean, that's very bullish that it's now officially effective. And so now we can expect to see them continuing to buy Bitcoin. Again, that's just another person buying Bitcoin besides Michael Saylor, besides MetaPlanet. Now you have the Trump Media Company, and it's just getting better. So as supply stays the same, but demand goes up, well, what happens to price? It goes a lot higher. And also, we have the Trump Truth Social filing for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. Again, another big entity adopting Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so this is very bullish. Now, one last thing I want to cover is, as far as the macro point of view is concerned, is let's go ahead and go over to remarks. Is Watcher Guru's macro account. And the latest on this, it says, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu says Washington is helping us and I'm in daily contact with Trump. And President Trump says if Russia was in G7, you wouldn't have a war right now. So there's a lot being said about, back and forth, both sides kind of threatening the other. But at the end of the day, a lot of this is, I don't want to say entertainment. That's not the right word. But a lot of it is for show, meaning they both have to posture up for their citizens, and neither side is going to back down, obviously. And so you have these big claims. Now, saying something is one thing, but acting on it is completely different, right? So if Iran actually really does unload the biggest strike in history on Israel, that's going to create a lot of issues for Iran. Then you're going to have Israel basically wipe them out. I mean, the biggest threat here is Israel has nuclear weapons, while Iran supposedly doesn't. Now, I don't think it's going to come to nuclear weapons, but again, it's one of those things where we have to monitor it as it plays out. But nonetheless, just know that a lot of this is for show for their citizens, and so both sides do have to posture strength at the end of the day. But unfortunately, it is unfortunate to see all this, and so hopefully this war stops sooner rather than later. But yeah, it's very surprising to see Bitcoin and crypto hold up as good as they are during this time. Now, let's go over some macro TA. So we're going to have the S&P, gold, spot, CFD, oil futures, and then the DXY. The S&P has been extremely bullish. We talked about last market update, or last live stream, that it was crossing above this major trend line on the weekly and crossing above this major resistance level on the weekly as well. So you can even see if we expand the chart here, you can see this line, how it's bouncing off multiple times, then it rejected off of it, and then it crossed above it after this trend line where it was rejecting as well, since July of last year. So this is a very, very big trend line break. I don't think people realize how big this is. I don't know if anyone was actually watching this trend line break besides us. And so with this trend line break, it gives S&P, honestly, $6,500, $7,000 target. I know that's a lot, but considering its resiliency and how it opened today, even during a war, guys, you don't pay attention to the news. You pay attention to the reaction of the news, right? What's the price action doing? If the price action is bullish, even though news is bearish, well, maybe someone knows something you don't. Maybe there's a different perception of the TradFi space or of Bitcoin now than there was in past cycles, right? You always got to be looking at both sides. You can never be too stubborn to not change your bias, right? You always got to be able to look at both sides. In Gem Hunters, we focus on looking at the data and ignoring emotions. Only that way can you be above 95% of traders instead of part of the sheep that are losing money. So you got to be able to look at both sides, guys. But yeah, it's very bullish for the S&P. Next target, 6,100. Probably 6,000 as support, and then 5,870 be a good buy level, and then 5,640 if it does end up going there for whatever reason. Now, something else I wanted to point out is gold. Gold may be rolling over. It's very surprising to see gold rolling over today you know, among all days where there's a war going on, and gold is essentially that hedge against inflation, a hedge against uncertainty. To see it declining now, it's very odd. And now it shows you, is that a flight to safety from gold to Bitcoin? Is that the rotation we're seeing now? It's hard to say, right? Because I've been talking about Bitcoin becoming the de facto gold. Eventually it will happen. Eventually people will buy Bitcoin more than they're going to buy gold whenever there's uncertainty in the market. And I believe today we're actually seeing that personified. And so I'm very bullish on that. I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. Still bullish on gold, but I think gold's time is coming to an end. I think silver is actually going to go on a run. If any of you guys trade Forex, trade commodities, check out silver. I think it's going to go on a run the next few months. But yeah, the RSI is crossing to the downside. Still bearish momentum building on gold, so expecting lower here. 3340 first support if you want to risk it there, and then 3200 and 3000 afterwards. Now, looking at oil futures, this was an interesting one because, and I'll get to questions in a minute, guys, so definitely leave them if you have them. But as far as oil futures, I mean, this thing went up to $77.50. Oil was going crazy, especially when Israel attacked the oil refineries in Iran. So luckily from that, finally we reset. It's near 70 because what happens is if oil prices get too high, you have a higher risk of inflation, higher transportation costs, and at that point, you know, you have a bad economy. And so glad we didn't get that. As long as oil stays below 70, should be fairly bullish for us. Stays within this range, but again, during a war, you're always going to have oil spike. So it's not something out of the ordinary there. Now, looking at the US dollar index, the DXY, you have it being close to oversold. What happened last time it was oversold? Well, April 14th, 2025. Let's go ahead and look at that date. April 14th, 2025. That's when the S&P had a big drop, and then afterwards it had a huge run. Could that happen this week? It's possible. S&P could have a drop and then it could have a huge run afterwards, right? Something could happen this week, have one more flash crash, and then we just send it higher. That's very, very possible. And so you always want to be prepared for both sides. I know where you fork today. All the altcoins are higher, green, S&P's higher, right? Everyone's happy. But always take into account the other side. Never be too blind by your own greed to not see the other side of a trade. That's something else I want to instill in everyone is be able to look at the data, be able to see what's going on. So yeah, just looking at the data here, maybe one more week of pumping before another flush and then continuing higher from there. But yeah, just looking at the DXY's price strength. I mean, last time, August 14th, 2024, what happened during that time? August 14th, 2024, right here. Okay, so again, we had, you know, a little drop and then we had a huge pump afterwards. And so anytime the DXY gets oversold, we have a drop and then we have a pump. And so keep an eye on that. I'll be looking for buying opportunities as well. With that, let me answer some questions, and then I'll go over crypto market overview, some on-chain data, ETF flows, etc. And also, real quick, if you guys aren't following me on X, definitely do so at the CryptoData. I try to provide you guys the best data possible, and I try to keep you guys up to date as well. So follow me on there if you are not. All right, let's see what everyone else is saying here. Oh, Junior says he bought Sol at 141. Congrats on that. Let's see. Oozerman says, love the voice messages you're sending on Telegram. Very helpful. Hey, appreciate that, Oozerman. Always strive to help you guys out when I can. Philip says, let's go. I started my first 72-hour fast today. If you also fast, do you have any tips? Awesome job, Philip. Congratulations on that fast. As far as tips on fasting, make sure you research it. Make sure you're getting your vitals checked. Make sure you are doing it right. And make sure you're getting in the proper electrolytes accordingly so your body's not fully dehydrated. You're still getting in some type of sodium, right? But congrats on that. Very, very good. Very healthy for a detox of the body. 48 to 72-hour fast. Very healthy. The Hermit, huge fan. Hey, awesome, Hermit. Good to have you here. Bayo Edit says, I'm unable to get that heat map to load on my screen. It says no data. So if it says no data for the heat map, all I do for that is I just go to coinglass.com, highlight liquidation, and then click on liquidation heat map. And then it should open this. Okay, liquidation heat map. It should open that. Let's see. Eswar, just in, Shopify has officially introduced USD payments on its platform. Yeah, Shopify is very bullish. Again, it's very, very good to see that and good to see more adoption on the Web 2, Web 3 space. Oozerman says, is there benefit to doing a 16-hour fast? Yeah, so that's called intermittent fasting. 16-hour fast, 8 hours on. And so, yeah, 100%. You detox yourself a lot, especially if you're doing a keto diet. You burn a lot of fat during that time. So, yeah, very beneficial. Highly recommend everyone intermittent fast if you're not. Basically, that's like saying, okay, you're not eating from, let's just say, well, let's say, for example, 10 p.m. or let's say 8 p.m. at night until 12 p.m. the next day, 16 hours, you're not eating. And then for lunch, you have your first meal. That's intermittent fasting. Very healthy. Minute Valor says bags are packed. Awesome. Oliver, first taking downside on 24-hour or taking the upside on the 1 week heat map. I think the 1 week heat map is probably at 110K. If I had to guess. Yeah. Ooh. We may actually, well, okay, let's see what the one day close does, what the daily close is. If we close above 107K, we could very well get that 111K tag on the upper liquidity there. Peter says, would you still get in at this time if we missed it to get in on the weekend? I would not get in right now, Peter. I would get in on a retest of support because I hate FOMOing in. Now, you could DCA, right? Get in a little bit if you think everything's about to send. But at the end of the day, I would still manage risk appropriately. Dreamer, how did you used to make your stock analysis, and do you still trade stocks? So I don't really trade stocks right now. I probably should get into options at least, especially because silver looks to be doing really good. I think that's gonna be a good trade. But I got into stocks because I majored in finance, and so I have a degree in finance, and so stocks was inherently part of that. And you essentially learn about it more because that's where analysts are, investment bankers, etc., portfolio managers, and so yeah, that was kind of my adoption into stocks, or intro into stocks. Eswar, hey, CryptoData, hope you're doing well. Do you think Solana can regain all-time high or more than that? Hey, Eswar, I think Solana probably will regain all-time high, but for a realistic target, I would say 200. But yeah, I do think it's very possible it still reaches all-time high. Eric says, can you check XRP? I see a triple bottom 4. Yeah, I'll check XRP in a minute. We have FOMC and the ongoing war. How do you think the market is going to react on both sides to these simultaneously? I think still bullish, net bullish. I mean, it's been reacting good so far. I don't see why that would change. Huddy says, gotten on Sol around 152. Caught a nice little uptrend. What are your thoughts on Sol long term? Long term, I still think we'll probably reach all-time high. XMR found support around 300. 320 a good long? Yes. Yeah, 320 was a good long. I remember looking at that last time. Joel says, what do you think will happen to the market in the bull run if the U.S. does decide to join the war? If the U.S. decides to join the war, I think it's going to be a short-term crash. And I say that because when the U.S. gets involved, it's not good for anyone. I mean, they end up decimating, right? And so, yeah, if the U.S. gets involved, and if something happens to cause the U.S. to get involved, I'll say that it's not going to be good. So then I would say we'll see a drop in the market. That would be probably one of the only events where it does. Hopefully it doesn't, knock on wood. So, yeah. But I do think the dips will still be for buying. Mirza, should we already be positioned with futures positions and alts in order to reap the benefits of the upcoming next few weeks, or do we wait for true bullish confirmation to invest all of our money? At that point, you're still betting at major support levels on the daily and weekly at the end of the day. And so you're waiting for retracements, you're waiting to buy the fear, you're not FOMOing in right now, you're still waiting for a retest of support because eventually we are going to have a pullback. And so, yeah, I would say just DCA at the very least. So if you have $100 to invest, maybe put in $10, $15 now. If we have a retest of support, another 10, 15. If we have a further crash, another 30, and so on and so forth. Indefeasible says, how do you analyze coins like Tron, XMR? They're not really linked to Bitcoin. I analyze them the same way as I normally would any coin. I just try ITA. I draw the support resistance on the daily, weekly time frames. I look at the RSI, stock RSI, the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, and then I just still chart them accordingly. So really no difference. Cena says muted. Hopefully not muted. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Let's see. Eswar says, also, do you have any advice for me who's currently out of college and I already do content creation and got monetized on YouTube as well this year, and I've signed some clients as a freelancer but no job? Okay, Eswar. So, great question on there. So, if you're out of college, if you graduated or you dropped out, either way, and you're successful in what you're doing now, I would say there's no reason to look for an actual job. Like, if you're already successful as far as content creation and signing some clients, like, just go with that, right? I mean, you have plenty of successful people that dropped out. I know Bill Gates dropped out. I think Steve Jobs dropped out and a few others, right? And so, yeah, just if you don't have a job afterwards and what you're doing as an entrepreneur is succeeding, then stick with that. No reason to try to look for a job if you're able to make more money doing online business. Sid, that's a good stuff. Thanks for the Coinbase news. Hey, no problem, Sid. BWF, discipline on crypto credit cards. My brother could learn something from that. Yes, BWF. Discipline on credit cards, guys. Please do not spend more than you can afford to lose. I've gone in debt before with credit cards. It is no fun. It is no fun. If you don't have the money in your checking account, don't even spend it on the credit card. That's what I would say. And just please be very cognizant. Also, I mean, heck, might as well drop some credit card knowledge. I used to study credit cards a lot and like how to get a good credit score and all that. To get the best credit score, you got to have, one, a good variety of credit cards, but two, have a low utilization ratio. So if total credit card limit among all cards is say 25,000, you want to try to keep that under 10%. So 2,500 or less. Realistically, under 5%. That's going to get you the most. So you only want to keep a limit of what, on 2,500 or 25,000 limit. You want to keep your balance among all credit cards below 750 total. So you want to pay off your credit cards every month. Also, you want to, I mean, obviously having higher credit limits is good, but also you want to have a good variety of cards, right? I will say, if you get offered a store credit card, like from Macy's or from, I don't know, the Buckle or some other clothing store or some other department store, don't accept it, guys. Like, those have the worst APRs. Like, they say, hey, sign up for a credit card, get 10% off. It sounds good initially. No, you're to sign up for a credit card, you're going to get a hard inquiry on your credit report. You're going to lower your average age of account if you're getting this credit card. Now, I will say, average age of accounts does make up credit score. So, for example, say you signed up for 5 credit cards over the next year, and then 10 years passes. Well, your average age of accounts is going to be those 5 credit cards that are 10 years old, divided by the total cards you have, which is 5. So your average age of accounts is 10 years. Now, if you get a new credit card, say this year, so you have that 1 year average age of account with your other 5 cards that are 10 years average age. So that's going to probably average out to, I don't know, 8 years average age of accounts. And it's always based off of your age group. So there's age groups like, I don't know, 18 to 25 or, 18 to 21, 21 to 24. Like, there's all these different age groups. But yeah, just make sure that when you're applying for credit cards, when you're young, it's good to apply for a lot. And I say a lot, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of good ones, right? And so if you don't have good credit cards, like, just wait for your credit score to rise and then apply for good ones. Don't just apply for 4 bad ones, because at the end of the day, that's just you're not gonna have any use for them. I will say having a lot early on does help down the road for that average age of accounts. But at the end of the day, apply for credit cards that are actually good and beneficial, and just get one to start, but just please be responsible with it. So I know, side tangent about whole financial advisor there, but I just wanted to update that since we were talking about, because finance is still very important, especially being in crypto. As far as, what do you think of Render, and also why is Ton ecosystem for a while? Render, I'm indifferent on it right now. I mean, it's AI token, AI DPIN, but indifferent. The Ton ecosystem's okay. I know that I think Pavel's in Dubai right now. He was supposed to have a big announcement. I don't know if that was the Grok announcement with XAI or that was something else with Ton ecosystem. But either way, they're still aware of the ecosystem and trying to increase adoption, especially with the Lux Pepes or Lush Pepes, right? Where those, I think right now, are going for 6,000 ton or more. But yeah, I mean, there's still some hype building, but the team definitely needs to rethink their models and rethink their marketing efforts as far as how to gain more adoption and what to promote on the Ton ecosystem. Joel, best macro event account of follow other than Watcher Guru? Yeah, Remarks. Remarks is a good one. At Remarks. Eswar, tomorrow I'm explaining crypto trading investing to 2 of my friends, and I'm going to highly suggest them to follow CryptoData. Hey, appreciate you, Eswar. Appreciate all you guys, by the way. I mean, everyone who's watching these streams, everyone who's spending their Monday, listening to me. I appreciate it a lot, guys. That's why I'm trying to make your time worthwhile, trying to explain as much as I can. So if you guys aren't following me on X, again, at the CryptoData, really appreciate it. Also, if you're not following the Jim Hunter's YouTube account, make sure to subscribe and like the live stream if you guys like it. We provide this content for free. If you want to sign up for the premium group in Jim Hunters, that's in the description as well. In premium, it's like an amplified version of the Jim Hunters free group. We provide approximately 40 calls per month across memes, leverage trades, Jim Alpha, Jim reports, 24/7 concierge service, and more live streams among other Jim Hunters. And so there's a lot more that you get. It's 1 Ethereum yearly. So if you guys want to sign up for that, again, in the description. And also, we are on BloFin, partnered with them. We do have some big updates on that actually we launched with the premium group. So you guys will know in the near future what we launched, but it's pretty good stuff. So if you want to join premium, definitely do so. Let's see. Marissa says, made some nice money on Zeus. Thanks to you. Much love, bro. The community seems to be only getting stronger as well. Hey, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Zeus, James Wynn actually bought over 100K worth of Zeus earlier today. And he's on his same wallet that turned Pepe from $7,600 to $25 million. And so everyone's suspecting that he knows something about Zeus, and that's why he bought. So some interesting stuff. Also, Zeus has IP rights for the character, and so that's another big argument for it. As far, also, could you explain about the copy trading feature you've mentioned in Gem Hunters group? Yeah, basically copy hunting feature to where anyone can invest money into the algo, the proprietary algo bot that Gem Hunters has partnered with, and basically you go hands off and it trades for you. And it's something that's really good. The annual ROI is over 160%, which obviously in crypto doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're doing nothing and you're getting 160% per year, you can put in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K and earn almost, earn more than double that. I think that's going to get a lot of people's attention. So yeah, it's a good algo bot right now. The Gem Hunters Premium group does have access to it. But yeah, if you want to get access, definitely join Premium. And you can get access to there because, again, spots are limited. Mirza says, should we wait for the price to be above the 5,200 EMA on alts to go all in on leverage trades? Yeah, probably. I mean, I would say that's the safe bet. Once they cross above those significant moving averages, that's when you can start looking for longs on pullbacks versus shorts. Max says, what's a good entry for Zeus now, and what's your target price in the midterm? A good entry for Zeus right now would be, oh, nice. It's pumping good. Good entry is 14.2 mil. And because you can see here, it bounced perfectly from this recent pump that it had. So great to see on that front. It's up 93% today. It's amazing right now. And so, yeah, I would say if you can get it near 14 mil, that'd be a good entry. And then below that, if you can get it near 9 mil, if it comes back down there, I don't think it will. So 14 mil is probably the good entry. And then, let's see, maybe 12 mil. This little resistance turn support. But yeah, I would say 14 is the biggest one. And then maybe you can say 12 and then 9. So, yep. All right. Quick Solana analysis. What's your take profits on Sol? Okay, yeah. Let me go over Sol real quick. And then it's funny, we're only halfway through the stream. Yeah, let's see. I'll go over Sol real quick. And then I'll answer 1 or 2 more questions. And then we'll continue the stream. And we'll talk about all the different altcoins, all the on-chain data, all the ETF flows. Like, guys, this stream is jam-packed. I want to make sure you guys get your money's worth here. Solana looks very good. Solana looks like a double bottom, to be honest. If you look at this little W here, that's honestly what it looks like, right? Like, that's textbook double bottom there. So with that said, I mean, probably expect something like a break up to 165, maybe a little break above it, come back down, and then continue higher from there. That could be something as well. Or even, we have the W, but then it comes up maybe here and then retest and goes from there, right? Something like that still bullish. And so either way, I'd probably expect to push up to 165. The indicators, and you'll notice this too a lot, is the indicators on a lot of alts look like this, where the RSI is crossing above the signal line and the stock RSI is crossing above its signal line as well. Very, very bullish, guys. Very, very bullish. Even the total chart I'll go over later on. Like, when you see patterns like this on multiple altcoins, that's when you can be sure that, okay, everyone's seeing the same thing, momentum is building, and now we're ready for the next leg up. And again, it's hard for people to think this. It's hard for people to get in this mindset because they're so programmed to think war is bad, war FUD is bad, I'm not going to buy. Or, oh, we already had a big bounce, the bounce is over, right? That is the worst mindset to have. If you're thinking, we've already bounced X amount of percent from the lows from this war FUD, we got to have a retracement, it's got to happen. Like, guys, in a bull market, retracements are small and the runs are big. And the worst mistake I made, I remember this clear as day. It was 2021 and the market was pumping like crazy. And I was thinking, there's no way it just keeps going. And I tried to short it. I think 2 or 3 times I tried to short it and I got liquidated both times. And that was a lesson of like, okay, you can't ignore strength. That's why they say the trend is your friend. And so from that point on, I'm not ignoring strength. I'm looking at indicators. I'm looking at the data, letting that speak for itself, not being careless with my money. And then that's how you actually stay ahead of 95% of traders. You literally look at the data, ignore emotions, and at that point, that's how you become profitable. And that's why 90 to 95% of the trades in Gem Hunters are profitable on the leverage trade side. Because whenever I look for trades, I look for the counter sentiment trade. Whenever we had some FUD with Iran on Friday, I was calling for a long because we already dipped a lot. Now, I didn't expect Israel to attack Iran that same day, which was unfortunate. Like, our trade would have played out. But nonetheless, ETH still ended up bouncing from 2470, which was our major support level. And then now we're at 2630, 2650, right? So guys, just look, long story short, just look at the data and don't get too focused on what the actual news. But yeah, for Solana, 153 is good support, and then 144. But I would pay attention to the daily close, see where we close. If we can close above the 50 EMA here, around 156, it's going to be very bullish. The next major resistance is going to be probably around 165. So keep an eye on that for your take profit level. All right. Let's see. Max says, what's a good entry for Zeus? Let's see. Yep, I talked about that. Okay. PK says, what are your key levels for silver? So key levels for silver, let me go over that real quick. And yeah, guys, please like the video if you like it. Really helps spread it to others. Let's see. Is this... Man, silver's been crazy. And I actually heard about this being bullish like way back here. Regret not buying it then. But I still think it has a ways to go. As far as... I mean, we can even... Let's see. Can we go even higher here? Here we go. Okay, so... See how prices respect resistance? Like, even if when silver wicked up here in 79... People are still selling April of 2011. Shows, guys, right? Okay, with that said. All right, so silver is breaking a major resistance level right now. Major resistance from 2012. Next target is 41. After that, 48. Support, if it can close the monthly above 34, I would say around $34, $35 will be support then. And then below that, around $28. If you want to get a little more aggressive, around 32 would be that support. But I mean, just look at the indicators, right? We were bouncing off the signal line, and we're getting close to crossing above on the stock RSI. And so, silver looks good. Not gonna lie, that'd be levels I'll be looking at. But with that, let's go ahead and continue with the stream, and then I'll answer more questions later on. So, market overview. Market overview right now, we have, let me go ahead and refresh here. Everything's green today, guys. This is why it pays to look at relative strength. Look at relative strength for altcoins versus Bitcoin. Also look at relative strength of crypto versus the outside macro events. We saw how good crypto is holding, therefore this run was telegraphed, right? On a weekend with low liquidity, when you have crypto holding as good as it is, you know it's just a launch pad waiting to happen. So Bitcoin's up 2.4%. Ethereum continuing to outperform, up 3.7%. We've been talking about Ethereum outperforming for the past few weeks. We talked about the ETF flows, and I'll talk about those as well, how those were consistently positive, where Bitcoin had 5 days of outflows. Like, you just have to look at the data. What are the institutions doing? Then you'll be able to telegraph these moves of Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin. And I mention these every day too. It's not like it's just a one and done. Like, I'm consistent with what I look at because, again, I have to brief you guys accurately on this data. So I'm going to study it. I'm going to put in the time and research so that you guys don't have to. That's what Gym Hunters is all about. Saving you guys time and being the de facto crypto group to basically tell you guys everything you need to know. So looking at the top gainers, White Bitcoin, 30%. Caspa is up 11%. Uniswap, 9.5%. Near Protocol is actually gaining some traction. And then SPX, Virtual Sky, and Hype. So SPX has been gaining a lot of traction. Murad, he's been promoting this coin like crazy. And I've seen a lot of attention on SPX, actually. And SPX, in my opinion, is like one of the leaders for memes. So when you see SPX rising, memes usually follow, right? And also Virtual's Protocol. So Virtuals is probably one of the best AI tokens on Base. And Virtual is also a proxy to the AI narrative. So when you see Virtuals pumping, you can be sure AI narrative is right around the corner and other AI tokens are going to pump as well. So I've been preaching AI summer. I do believe that's going to happen. I do believe it's happening now. Not just Virtuals. I mean, I'm sure if I look at Ray, it's going to be good as well. I haven't even looked at Ray, honestly. Let's see what Ray's at. Look at that. I didn't even look at it, but I was already sure that it was going to be good. Up 22% today. 10 cents, guys. You cannot ignore this data. Like, I can't stress enough. If you recognize patterns and you put in the time and effort, you know which tokens pump together. You know with one token pumping what is going to be telegraphed with that. Okay? So make sure you guys are putting in the time and the research. Obviously, a lot of you are not full-time like I am with crypto, but for those who can put in the time, at least 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, you're going to learn a lot. You follow the reputable X accounts, right? I actually had a post earlier where I made on June 13th. I talked about accounts everyone needs to follow. And these guys are like top of their game. And so if you guys aren't following them, you're doing yourself a disservice. But I posted this on June 13th. So go to my account at the CryptoData, go to June 13th, and I promise you guys, you will not regret it. These are top tier guys. Virtual Bacon is one. I actually linked the wrong account, so then I linked it the correct one under here. But I'm telling you guys, these guys are at the top of their field. You will not regret following these people. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go over the on-chain data now. So, where's money flowing? Well, money's still flowing on Ethereum. It's still ahead of Solana month over month, which is a good sign. Obviously, Solana is gaining a lot of traction recently because of Solana ETF that is launching soon. Also, you have the Pump Fund token launch that's going to create some hype for it. So, it's very, very easy to see why it's gaining a lot of TVL in terms of inflows. Now, besides that, Base still gaining a lot of traction. Again, we talked about Virtuals and Ray. Very good tokens. Hyperliquid, insane strength. I tell everyone every time, bid strong performers. Hype is one of those strong performers. So it's doing very, very good. Also, you have Avalanche gaining some traction. Remember Lambo and Wife. Lambo is trending right now, up 12% today. That thing's been going up like crazy. Guys, do not ignore the AVAX ecosystem either. Like, people were ignoring it, and now just look at Lambo. I mean, Lambo is literally up only from when it was launched. And so Daniel Acesta, who is one of the main guys who actually promoted the Phantom ecosystem last cycle, he's now fully adopting the AVAX ecosystem. And Lambo and Wife are two of his tokens that he's backing a lot. So that's why AVAX has been gaining the traction that it has. There's also some big launches happening this week as well, so keep an eye on that. But yeah, good to see a lot of TVL, a lot of on-chain inflows as well. And then we have the Fear and Greed Index. So it's right now, it's at neutral, 51. So 51, I always like to compare this to what happened in January, where we were in the greed area for a little bit, and then we went into neutral, and then we actually took off. Right now, we're in the greed area for a little bit, neutral, greed, neutral. So again, we're having a little ping pong, right? So it could be more of a consolidation phase. Could this summer be 2 months, 3 months of consolidation? Yes. But I like to think that we still have some positive price action ahead of us, and we still have a green summer. So a lot of data is pointing towards that. So again, if we're in neutral, that's usually indecision, but at the same time, it does reset us for a potential move higher. Also looking at the monthly returns. And so if you look at the monthly returns on CoinGlass, you're going to see that we've still been following 2020 to a T. Now, I know that June was red in 2020, negative 3%, whereas today it's plus 3%. So not to say we still can't go red in June, but just keep that correlation in mind. But look at July and August, green months. And so that's what I'm expecting is we've been following this 2020 for a while. Again, 2020, the year of uncertainty. And now it's what we're seeing here. And so I'm expecting June, July, and August to be, July at least to be very good. June and July, August will be a little iffy. Now let's look at the ETF flows. So, like I mentioned, Bitcoin had 5 days of ETF flows over the past couple weeks. Look at Ethereum. Just 1 day of outflows. And that 1 day of outflows from Fidelity. BlackRock has been net inflows for the past 2.5 to 3 weeks. Very bullish, guys. I cannot explain how bullish this is. I mean, we have the crypto stablecoin bill supposedly going to pass on Tuesday, tomorrow, as the time of filming this video, June 17th. And so you have the stablecoin bill passing, that's going to create hype for Ethereum. If you don't know why the stablecoin bill is bullish for Ethereum, search or ask ChatGPT, how is the crypto stablecoin bill bullish for Ethereum? And it'll tell you. Long story short, people are going to be transacting with USDT and USDC on the ERC20 network. They're going to use Ethereum as gas. Ethereum's going to get burned via the EIP 1558. It's going to be deflationary. Less supply, higher demand equals price go up. That's the easiest way I can explain it. And then Bitcoin, though, last few days, respectable inflows from 386 million, 431, 164, 86, 301. So yeah, Bitcoin's still looking good. Interested to see today's flows if we continue higher. I'm expecting us to continue higher for these ETF flows, and that will solidify that all these institutions want to buy, even when there's all kinds of chaos going on in the world. At the end of the day, I think people have realized to become more desensitized to war. I think that war is one of those things that it does unfortunately happen, but there's nothing you can do to change it. And so there's no reason to bring it back and affect your bottom dollar in terms of the market movement, right? If you're kind of sure that it's going to pass, knock on wood, then some of these investments that are seen as digital gold or flight to safety or safe havens should continue to hold. Next, let's go over upcoming events, then I'll answer some questions. So something else I want to mention is, again, I already mentioned this a couple weeks, but the FTX distribution that happened May 30th and has happened over the past few days after that, that money has been flowing into the space. Maybe whether it be 10% of it, but billions was distributed, and a lot of that is flowing in. And so that's also one of the tailwinds that's helping the market to pump is you have those refunds coming in. You have Michael Saylor T-WAPing into the chart, buying in, Metaplanet buying into the chart, the Trump's media company basically registering for their basically being able to hold Bitcoin, right? And so buying Bitcoin. And so they're going to have $2.5 billion worth of buy pressure over the next, who knows, couple of years. And then you have all these other countries and nation states adopting it, all these other pro-crypto laws, Trump mentioning it. I mean, there's just so many catalysts that, I have to remind people a lot of times when they're bearish is yes, I will recognize when I'm euphoric. I am very happy right now at all of the catalysts I have coming. I am aware that this same happiness was in January and we topped out during that time, of course. And you got to be able to look at both sides. I wouldn't be a good trader if I didn't. But just looking at what's still to come, looking at where the indicators are at and looking at the flows and looking at everything else that maybe we may have not had access to last cycle. Like we didn't have ETF flows last cycle. That's a change in the game, right? We didn't have countries adopting Bitcoin last cycle besides maybe El Salvador. We didn't have these other countries or places really getting into crypto like they are now. And we didn't have a pro-crypto administration as well. So there's a lot of different things at play here. We didn't have Michael Saylor T-WAPing hundreds of millions of dollars every month. Bitcoin would be at 75,000 right now if Michael Saylor wasn't buying as much as he was. That's just the name of the game. And now you have other institutions like Metaplanet buying hundreds of millions a month as well. And so you just got to look at the data, guys. You can't ignore it. That's something I want to mention. Also, Token 2049 Singapore. Can anyone leave a fire emoji if they're going to be there? Or if anyone already lives in Singapore? I'm not going to be at the main event, I don't think. I'm going to be at just the side events. But this is October 1st and 2nd. Really, it's the end of September at the beginning of October. But F1 is also being held during this time. So expect a lot of people to be here. If you guys are going, leave a fire emoji. Would love to meet you guys. It's going to be a good event. A lot of good people here. So looking forward to it. Also, the FOMC meeting. That's June 18th. So that is going to tell us whether they're going to cut interest rates or not. I believe, I don't think they're going to cut interest rates. I think banks have given them a 3% chance that they're going to cut it. But at the end of the day, everyone's priced in no interest rate cuts for the foreseeable future. I think we're still, the closest time frame, I would say, would be about 2 months, maybe in August or September when we'll see interest rate cuts. Other than that, besides Trump calling for interest rate cuts, I still think that Powell is going to cut them whenever he feels it's right. It may be too soon, it may be too late. At the end of the day, he's going to do what he's going to do. Trump's not going to fire him, and so we'll just keep rolling, and the market's going to keep doing its thing. And so that's, but nonetheless, interest rate cuts are another catalyst that we can look forward to in the foreseeable future. With that said, got a few minutes left. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. Let's see, Corpus. There's some liquidity for Bitcoin at 108K. You think it'll clear that before dropping down to 104 and then spike to 110? Very possible, Corpus. Very possible. That'd be a nice little choppy pattern there. Liquidate both sides and then before sitting much higher. Yes. My only caveat is the weekly liquidation levels, how those are near 111K. That may be enough to press us a lot higher. But let's see, right? I mean, you're not bad or you're not wrong in thinking that whole gets 108K, then 104, and then 110. That's not a bad plan at all. And I would place your bids accordingly. Eric says, did you check Cointelegraph posted on ETH? Apparently bulls accumulated 2.5 billion on Sunday. That's amazing news. So many people are accumulating ETH. BWFL says, does Zeus have the possibility to launch on big exchanges? Yes. Yes, they do, because they have the IP rights. They have the backing from the artist and the actual dog owner. And the dog owner is friends with Matt Fury as well. I mean, there's just so many different narratives you can spin with Zeus right now. And so it's a community-run token. It's doing great. I love it. Bigfoot says, thanks for the Zeus insights. Looking forward to seeing it overcome Pepe. Hey, wouldn't that be something, Bigfoot? If Zeus overcomes Pepe, man, we'll all be happy. Uzerman says, what's a good price to buy Bitcoin and ETH spot? Bitcoin, probably 104K for Bitcoin. Ethereum, 2470. Trench Kid, what do you think about hype and Fartcoin? Bullish. Bullish on hype, bullish on Fartcoin. Very bullish on both. Buy those at major support levels on the daily or weekly. You'll be good. And if you guys don't know how to draw support and resistance lines, look at my first video I had of technical analysis basics at the on the Jim Hunters YouTube channel. It's like one of the first videos under the live tab. You click on live and then you'll go scroll to the bottom. You'll see technical analysis basics. I think it's like the 4th or 5th video. And I go over how to draw SR lines. Everyone should learn that. Let's see. Do you think Sol can reach all-time high even with pump fund launch? I think it still can. Yeah. I'm not knocking it. It's a good tech, and they've proven themselves time and time again, especially with the Trump launch. So yeah, I wouldn't rule out an all-time high for Solana. The Quiz Monk. Thanks for all the knowledge you share, bro. What do you do when the market's quiet? Sometimes I feel I'm not working during those times after analyzing the charts, looking at Twitter, etc. Hey, Quiz Monk, appreciate the compliment. You know, when the market's quiet, what you want to do, you don't want to force a trade, because there's a popular quote: sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. And that's very true. Like, people get into this mindset of over trading and feeling like they're missing out if they don't trade 24/7, 365. And that's not the case. What I've come to learn is you have to focus on high conviction bets. A lot of money with high conviction bets is what's going to make you generational wealth. It's not $1,000 spread across 100 tokens. It's $1,000 spread across 10 tokens, across 5 tokens. That's going to earn you the most with those high conviction plays, right? So if you're already in your tokens and you're just waiting now, I mean, yeah, you can have a little funds, you know, a little amount to trade, right? You know, just to scratch that itch. But at the end of the day, like, if the market's not doing anything, it's chopping, then touch grass. You know, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, work out, read a book, like learn a new skill, learn more technical analysis. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you don't always have to be trading, but I will say you should always be learning something, and still obviously de-stressing yourself, but try to learn, you know, try to learn more about trading, learn more about good X accounts to follow. Watch more YouTube videos of Benjamin Cohen into the cryptoverse. He's a very smart guy. Virtual Bacon's a very smart guy. Yeah, just learn from there. Steven says, is this Luke Belmar's voice? No, this is not Luke Belmar. My name is John Luke. I am a friend of Luke's, but we are not the same person. So I may talk like him just because, you know, we hung out a lot, but besides that, yeah, it's different people there. But you are only the 100th person to ask, so no worries. Bruno says, hey, first of all, thank you for your lives. Post on X and Telegram. What do you think about the Brett narrative and the current graph? So, hey, no problem, Bruno. Always a pleasure to help you guys out. As far as the Brett chart, let's see what we got here. And again, guys, if you like the video, please like it. The stream, it helps a lot. Helps spread Jim Hunters to the masses. If you want to sign up for the premium group, in the description as well. We provide more leverage calls, meme phone calls, concierge service, more streams, gym reports, etc. So 1 Ethereum for a year. So sign up for the description if you aren't. And then if you aren't in the free group either, join the free group as well. Get started. See what we're all about. Jim Hunters is the top crypto community in the world. So looking at Brett right now, okay, I will say this. I will say this with Brett. It didn't look good on the price, but the indicators are telling a different story. This is why it pays to look at both. RSI crossing above the signal line. Stock RSI crossing above the signal line. The daily close is going to tell us a lot with a lot of these tokens. And so I will say we do have some bullish divergence. RSI is making a higher low, while price is making a lower low. Very bullish there. Same with the stock RSI. Stock RSI is making a higher low. So yeah, so if you're looking to buy Brett right now, I mean, it's not a bad spot. Now, as far as SR lines, they're kind of all over the place, to be honest. I'm trying to find a good read. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe somewhere around there, right? But yeah, I mean, we had stops basically get hunted. This little scoop here, and then went higher. So Brett may not be a bad play. Resistance would be around 5.2 cents, and then around, I would say, around 6 cents. And then from there, 6.5. So 5.2, 6, and 6.5 for resistance on Brett. But yeah, it's, I mean, really, I would say just over 5 cents would probably be more realistic resistance. And then just going from there. Let's see what else we got here. Yep. Let's see. Eswar, man, this is my first bull run I've been in, and also happens to be the hardest one, I guess. God is testing us, guys, before rewarding us with massive P&L. Yes, Eswar, this is definitely the hardest cycle we've had. Like, there's been a lot of generational wealth opportunities, but the rotation and the amount of coins that are being created is what makes it hard. Because you'll be in a coin, it'll be pumping for a day or two, and then it'll rug, or it'll start dropping because another coin got popular, because there's thousands of coins created a day. So don't let that discourage you, right? Follow Gem Hunters, follow what we're saying, learn to hold high conviction plays, and then eventually it'll pay off. But yes, it's not the typical alt season that we get with every token pumping on the timeline, because there's so many, and Pump Fund has diluted all of that capital across various memes versus keeping it with utilities, where it usually was 80% of the time. So yeah, but just, again, that's where you got to put in the time, put in the research, right? Joel says, did you see the Apple credit card with 3% cash back for Apple Pay? I actually haven't seen that, Joel. That's an interesting one. I'll have to check that out. I'm interested actually in new crypto credit cards, though. That's like the next thing I want to buy. So if you guys know any good crypto credit cards, let me know. Feel free to tag me in Gem Hunters, and I'll be more than happy to respond. But yeah, I'm interested in like some good credit cards with potentially, you know, high credit limits, high percentage back without too many stipulations. Steven says, what's your perspective about Hyperliquid? Is it bullish? Yes, Hyperliquid's very bullish, because what Hyperliquid does, guys, is it uses the money it makes from fees and liquidations to put that back into the token, to pump the token. So it's like a flywheel, where the more money they're making from fees, trading fees, the more they're injecting into the token. It just keeps going higher, and it just keeps going. So yeah, very, very good. Zid says, that's good credit card game. Thank you. Hey, no problem, Zid. Always want to make sure you guys are staying safe in there, because there's a lot that, again, the society tries to take money away from you. I'm trying to give it back. Mike, what coin has the best team potential in your eyes, and why? Ooh, good question. I mean, Hype is pretty good. I mean, we were just talking about it, right? Hyperliquid is a top coin. What else? I mean, obviously the Soul team is good, right? But yeah, I mean, Hyperliquid is a great team. Yeah, Hyperliquid's the best one. I can't even argue. Like, they've done everything right. They've given a good airdrop. People got rich off of it. I can't even argue. Hyperliquid's the best team for now, right? There may be something better, but Hyperliquid's definitely up there. Let's see. The Hermit. Will ETH ever pass all-time high? Yes, I believe so. Because you have the crypto stablecoin bill. You also have the Ethereum staking ETF, which most people are ignoring. And so, yes, I do believe it definitely will pass all-time high. Bruno says, would you short BTC at any moment? The only time I would short BTC is whenever we get to the trend line. And let me show you guys a little alpha trend line that some of you may have missed. So, on the weekly time frame, I drew this trend line that stems all the way from 2017. So it's marked the top of all of these cycles, and it's getting close to doing it with this one. You can see every time it's come up close to this, price is rejected. Now, I will say with this is a big caveat, is whenever price gets up here, which is going to be near 111, 112K, which, as people were mentioning, is where the one-week liquidation levels are. If you don't believe me, right here, 111K, one-week liquidation levels, very powerful. So if Bitcoin ends up reaching this level, I would probably be looking to short it, not even going to lie. Because here's the matter of fact, is if Bitcoin breaks above this long-term trend line, guys, we're going so much higher. Like, if it breaks and closes above and does a little recess of support and continues higher, like, at that point, that's where you have the 150K plus targets, right? Conservatively right now, if we're based on the 4-year cycle, I'm expecting around 117 to 120K, conservatively. But what would change that is a break above this trend line. As you can see, it has not been broken for 8 years. So look at the data, guys, and you'll be more prepared and be ready in case we do have this. But yeah, that's where I would short it, around 111, 112K. Jaw says, invite me to premium Gem Hunters after I made profit. I paid double. Wouldn't it be a great win-win? Think about it. Ha! That's funny. That's funny. Hey, I like the humor on a Monday. I like the humor. Avi says, my Dolan bag was up 20% today. There you go. There you go. Making money. Is the Pump Fund launched on Solana blockchain? Yes. Actually, no, I don't want to say it is. It may be on Ethereum. I need to double check. Let me double check real quick now that you asked that question, because I don't want to tell you wrong. Also, like I said, guys, follow these accounts. Very good accounts to follow, as far as if you aren't following them on my X from the CryptoData. But Pump fund launch. Is it ETH? Let's see. Okay, no, I think it's still going to be on Solana. No, it's still going to be on Solana. It's just they're not launching it on their own platform, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure. I'll need to double check on that, honestly. HD says, what do you think of the strategy? Start selling next few weeks, keeping some moonbags only, and adding back after summer into Q4? That may not be bad. That may not be bad. Yeah, maybe some bleeding in August and September. So keep that in mind. Golden Boy, what about XMRU? No opinion on that. Dylan, did you hear about JP Morgan stablecoin? I think I heard about that. That's going to be interesting. All these banks creating their own stablecoin. They're just trying to get into the digital currency space, trying to get into blockchain. So, yeah, that makes sense. Men of Valor, holy, JP Morgan just filed for cryptocurrency trademark, JPMD for trading and payment services. Wow. That shows it, guys. A lot of these banks, they see the writing on the wall. They're going to adapt or get left behind. That's the name of the game. Junior, best app crypto exchange to trade any meme coins. BloFin. BloFin is the best. They don't have every meme coin, but they're non-KYC. The best non-KYC exchange. The Nerdy Guy. Bubble Maps was spreading FUD about Zeus today. Ah, really? I'll have to check that out. Interesting, because really what happened was the Cabal Zeus was bundled up to 5 to 8 million. And they literally airdropped all their allocation to all their different KOLs and influencers. And that's why you've seen so many influencers tweet about the other Zeus versus the community one that we're in. And so it's pretty funny seeing I mean, obviously, you know, all's fair in love and war, right? But it's just funny to see the narrative shift with the community Zeus when it was literally you had chances to buy under 2 mil for a while, whereas the Cabal Zeus, insta 5 mil. No one had a chance to buy right then. So kind of funny seeing the hypocrisy of it all. Bayo says, could no rate cuts on the 18th be a chance to short? No. People are expecting no rate cuts. That's why. If people weren't expecting it, yeah, it would be maybe. But I wouldn't trade during these uncertain times, or as far as like whenever these big meetings happen, like the FOMC meeting. It's just volatility on both sides. Both sides, you're going to get chopped up. There's just no point in it. X says, is it too late to buy hype? And what do you think about PopCap? I mean, I wouldn't buy hype right now. I'd wait for retracement. If you can get a retracement near $40, that'd be good. And PopCat, I'm not too, actually, I'm neutral on PopCat. I'm like tentatively bullish. It's a good meme. Eric says XRP and Pengu. XRP I'm bullish on. Pengu, indifferent on. What about SPX? SPX I am bullish on. Because Murad is not going to stop shilling that. Trader Pow has actually been bullish on SPX and a lot of other people. There's a lot of whales in there that are supporting it big time. Breathe Forth says, much love for all this valuable information. Is it possible to connect with you on a more personal level in any way? And thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. You know, I am exploring some options down the line of doing more personalized services like one-on-ones and stuff. But just stay tuned for that. Just follow me on X and stuff if you aren't, and then I'll let you know if that happens. So, Hyper says, I heard about Red.Pay crypto credit card is really good. Check it out, bro. Hey, appreciate that. I'll check out Red.Pay. Quizmonk, thanks for answering my question, bro. Appreciate it. What do you recommend to connect with good crypto guys? Because you know lots of the guys on Twitter is only noise, and the good ones only have good teams. Yeah. So some of the top crypto guys, I mentioned it here. Go to my account at the CryptoData. Go to my post June 13th. And I mentioned a lot of good people to follow. I'll even post it here. There you go. Great people to follow on X. There you go. And the virtual bacon guy here, the actual right one is down here. Don't follow this one. Follow this one down here. He's the right one. But all these guys, super, super high up. Super... like at the pinnacle of crypto, very, very smart. And so, yeah, like into the cryptoverse, this guy is very smart macro-wise. I learned a lot of my stuff from him. He actually has a lot of correlation and a lot of patterns that he recognizes that no one else recognizes. And so there's a reason he has 1 million followers. Same with Virtual Bacon. He distills complex issue. Not this guy, this one. Virtual Bacon. He distills complex issues into very easy to digest format. So definitely follow him as well as everyone else here. Like they all are experts in their own field. Let's see. Sam says, how much longer do you think this bull run has? I would give it until October of this year. Probably the top. Golden Boy, are you still bullish on Jupe? Tentatively, yes, but I mean, it's just the token hasn't been performing as well, so it makes it hard to stay bullish on it. Asma says, which app is best for trading stocks? Probably Robinhood. Parasite says, I live in Iran. Do you recommend PaxG, bro? PaxG, is that, you talking about gold? Or what are you talking about on there, Parasite? Expand on that for me. Ivan says, what do you think about Pangu? I'll go over the chart real quick, and then we'll probably have to wrap up this stream. But Pangu is one, it's just the abstract chain never caught on. And it's always, you know, everyone always talks about Pangu as being the next thing. Now, I will say, like, where it's at right now, it's right at resistance. And the chart, I mean, let's look at the daily. So the chart doesn't look too bad as far as from an indicator perspective. And so if you see here, it doesn't look bad, crossing to the upside. So there could be some promise here, right? Like on the daily, good bounce. Let me get rid of this green line here. Good balance. You do have some resistance here. So yeah, it's going to have some resistance near 1 cent. If it closes above 1 cent on the daily, like 1.1, I should say, then maybe look for some higher moves to the upside, even that 1.2 cents. So keep that in mind. But the indicators do look good. Maybe a double bottom here, right? We were talking about double bottom on Solana. Maybe double bottom on Pangu like this. Let me draw it better. Maybe something like that, right? That could happen. If you want to risk it, risk it. I'm just not in Pangu. Around 160K top on Bitcoin. If it crosses above its trend line, yeah, I would say 150K probably. But conservatively right now, around 120K. Parasite, yeah, I meant gold rather than BTC in this situation. You know, Parasite, I would say, I mean, just look at Bitcoin, though. Bitcoin has held up during this war. And so when you look at that relative strength, like, you can't ignore it. Like, originally, Bitcoin would be dropping a lot during the war, and gold would be rising. But now you have Bitcoin rising and gold dropping, which is an interesting dichotomy. And so I would say be more weighted in Bitcoin than you are in gold. I'd maybe do like a 70-30 split, Bitcoin gold. But yeah, that'd be my recommendation. Also, Parasite, how's everything going in Iran? Like, you guys have been getting hit hard. Israel's been getting hit hard. Everyone's been getting hit hard. So what's the news saying? Is there any talks of a resolution or a negotiation happening soon? Any positive news going on down there? By the way, and definitely stay safe down there. Let's see. Grand says, should I sell all my Brett in October? Yeah, I mean, like, by the time, I would say even July, guys, like, we're probably gonna have a blow off top in July before consolidating in August and September, maybe before having final run in October. And so, yeah, start taking profits, like, especially if July starts getting crazy, definitely start DCAing out. Mirza says, do you expect some big runners to pop up that can be big? For example, how we had Virtual's Fartcoin hype appear during the last leg, or should we just look to invest in the current ones? You know, there is new opportunities. Like, again, like Zeus on Ethereum was going crazy, right? Kind of came out of nowhere. We have Lambo coming out of nowhere in the AVAX ecosystem. Like, there's always opportunities, but as far as a big runner like you're talking about, it's going to be a lot harder for that to gain traction. Now, I do say Kita on the base chain went to 1.5 billion over the past 3 months. That thing absolutely sent, and that had the backing of the former Google CEO. And so, yes, I will say there's the chance for new projects to shine, but time is limited because we are getting close to the end of the cycle. So make sure you guys are managing your risk accordingly and managing your expectations and targets accordingly as well. Kaya says, do you know about Gnosis Pay and the Moonwell for cards? I don't. I'll have to look at that, though. Bigfoot says, Pengu looks like Pepe. Also seems to be forming double bottom. Yeah, exactly. Looks to be forming double bottom, so let's hope it bounces. Max says, I'm from Ukraine. When you hear from Trump about deal with Russia, it's all BS. Okay, gotcha. Max, is there any deal or any negotiation being formed between Russia and Ukraine? Like, is there any possibility that it's going to happen, or is Zelensky just very, very against it? Avi says, have you heard of FOMO on AVAX? I've not heard of FOMO on AVAX. I'll have to check that out. Spiraco's data, I added glucosamine to my supplements. Hey, awesome. Yeah, glucosamine and chondroitin. Glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, like the standard joint supplement. That's good as far as lubricating your joints. Now, when you're young, I say young, between like 16 to 25, you don't really need joint supplements. Your joints are already lubricated, so it's kind of like null and void at that point. But it's good, though, if you are having joint issues, that can definitely help ease the pain. And I will say, make sure you're always stretching when you're working out, and make sure you always warm up. And so, for example, if you're dumbbell bench pressing, you know, let's just say normally you bench press 50 pounds on each side. Well, start warming up with maybe 15, 20 pounds and do like a couple sets of 20 reps. Get your joints lubricated, and then start going to 35 pounds, and then finally 50 pounds, your working set, and then do 4 sets of that. Do 4 sets of everything as far as your working set. Parasite says, good situation. Okay, good. Good. I like that. I like that, Parasite. That explains why we're doing pretty good. I'm hoping they can come to negotiation. Like, I definitely hope. So let's keep praying for both sides here. They can stop the war, stop the attacks. Spiraco says, can you tell us some things about the gym, eating healthy and all that stuff about what you do in the day? Yeah, so let's go ahead. There was might as well I might as well link this tweet that I had about my health and everything. It's been a while. There was one that I linked back in the day. Where is it at? It's way back here. Give me a second. It's coming up soon. Right here. Okay, so this is what I linked here. And so I'll link this. Let's see. My diet and lifestyle regimen. There you go, guys. So basically what I say here, I prioritize sleep, which is first and foremost. Everyone in this chat should be prioritizing sleep because it is the most important thing of your life. It's the best drug you can take or you can use. So 7 to 8 hours of sleep, morning routine, making sure to get sunlight first thing in the morning. You can even do red light therapy. That helps well, but this helps reset your circadian rhythm. So the rhythm that tells you when it's time to go to bed, or time to wake up, etc. I take a cold shower after. Helps stimulate dopamine, helps get me started throughout the day. I pray and meditate during this time as well. Prayer is very important. Religion is very important. Whatever religion you guys have, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Jewish, whether you're like, whatever you are, right? I recommend having a religion, just any type of religion you have, as long as it's healthy, as long as it's good, because that's going to keep you grounded and that's going to keep you basically, I guess, going to keep you positive in life, right? You're always going to have a shoulder. You're always going to have a shoulder to cry on. You're always going to have a support system. So, yeah, religion's very important in my opinion. Food supplements. So, this is very important as well. Everything's organic, guys. Like when you're focused on your diet and everything, you guys have no idea. Maybe you do from Luke telling you guys about seed oils and everything, but you guys have no idea how much junk is in all of the food we're eating, especially in the United States. If you're from the United States like I am, the food we're eating is junk. Like they put, obviously besides the seed oils, they put all these artificial dyes, red dyes, yellow dyes, blue dyes. They put all these high fructose corn syrup, sucralose, all these bad sugars, all this bad fats, these trans fats that's in donuts and everything else. Like, guys, it is insane how unhealthy things are. All these pesticides, all these hormones in meats. And so to be rid of all of that and to actually live the healthiest life you can, eat organic. Only eat organic. That includes eggs, turkey sausage, turkey bacon, steak. Make sure the steak is grass-fed. Grass-fed steak, like ribeye, guys, night and day, literally. Grass-fed steak, organic spinach, avocado, berries. That includes strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Protein, get some type of hydrolyzed whey or just whey isolate for fast digestion. For lunch and dinner, again, grass-fed, organic chicken, salmon, steak, beef. Obviously, you can't grass-fed salmon, but you know what I mean. Broccoli, green beans, quinoa. And make sure you're sauteing your broccoli or your spinach or green beans. Like, saute it for a little bit. Don't just eat it raw, because then it's very hard for your digestive system, and you're not going to have a good time. So put it on the skillet, like a couple minutes with some extra virgin olive oil. You're good to go. And then I take creatine monohydrate with Creapure. Very good for recovery, for your mental focus, for mental clarity, for working out. People say it's bad for your kidneys. No, it's not. Just drink enough water. You're not going to retain water like people say. Drink enough water. That includes half a gallon to a gallon a day. You're going to be fine. Vitamins. Recommend vitamin D, magnesium glycinate. It's going to help with relaxation and sleep. It's also the best quality versus like magnesium oxide or citrate. Like, what you guys need to notice is in all these multivitamins, usually they have the lowest bioavailable form of that vitamin. So for example, for magnesium, they'll have like magnesium oxide, which that only gets absorbed in your body, maybe 15 to 20% of it. Whereas magnesium glycinate, your body absorbs 80% of it. And so there's a difference in the quality of vitamins. So if you're taking a multivitamin, thinking you're getting everything in, guarantee you're not getting the best quality of each. And so make sure your multivitamin is high quality. Yes, you're going to pay an extra $20, $30 for it, but it's worth it. Then make sure any vitamin that you get individually, it is the highest quality. Zinc, good for testosterone production. Guys, the food and the beverage industry is made to basically feminize men. And I say feminize men, not from a conspiratorial perspective, but I say it because a lot of these foods like soy protein and everything increase your estrogen levels. Therefore, it's lowering your testosterone levels. Therefore, men are becoming more beta, right? Like men are becoming more soft. They're becoming more depressed. Their mood swings are a lot more because of the food they're eating, of what they're drinking. Like if you want to change your life, you have to change your habits. And that goes with what you eat, what vitamins you take, what you drink. I drink Mountain Valley spring water in glass bottles. That's top tier. Obviously, if you can have reverse osmosis, that's good as well. Or just drinking spring water in general. But guys, please, please stay away from plastic bottles. Plastic bottles, those microplastics are literally no joke. And it's so bad for you. So glass bottles are the way to go. Filtered water at the very least. Even Brita water pitcher is better than drinking the tap water. If you're going to drink coffee, make sure it's organic. And then working out 5 days a week. And this is my split. And then also give myself 2 days of rest, and then consistency is key, guys. So yeah, that's my stack. So if you guys want to know, just do that. Joel says, bros flirting on live chat. That is hilarious. Golden Boy, can I get a quick TA for XMRU? Yeah, I'll go ahead and check that out real quick. The stream's going on for about 20 minutes, a little longer, but you guys are enjoying it, so I'll last a little longer for you guys. Let's see, XMRU. All right. Ooh, yeah. This looks good. XMR, yeah. So, wait. Are you talking about XMR as far as the Monero, or is that a different token? But yeah, Monero's looking good. Good bounce off of 310, crossing over the 50 EMA. Also, guys, look at this. Like, see? See how all of these indicators are showing the same thing? You cannot make this up. This is literally why it pays to study, and why it also pays to put in the time and research in mastering TA, because then you can recognize these patterns. And yeah, XMR looks good. XMR looks like it wants to go to 360. So keep an eye on that, especially if it can break this little mini trend line, if you will, trend line resistance. That could be very good as well. So keep an eye on that. Let's see. Cino says, WStream, love it. Hey, awesome. Max says, Ukraine said it's no point because they want land that they didn't even capture. Yesterday, they said that Ukraine should destroy all Western equipment for peace. Russia just don't make sense. Yeah. That's unfortunate, right? Like, you want to hope both sides come to an agreement, but it's just when you have world leaders that are very prideful, it makes it hard for either of them to give in. So hopefully Trump can help mediate it. Hopefully, like, I don't know, China can maybe bring them to their senses. Like, hopefully there's something that goes on there in the next few weeks. X says, which coins are you longing right now? So, like, ETH is a good one. Bitcoin was a good one. Obviously, you don't want to long them right now, but maybe waiting on breakouts or daily closes above to confirm. Bayo says, is seed oil is bad? Yes, seed oil is horrible for you. That goes vegetable oil, canola oil, even sunflower oil. Like, what you want for oils, you want coconut oil, even avocado oil, or, in my opinion, one of the best is extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. It's going to cost you money. It's going to probably cost you around 20, 30 bucks for like a big bottle, but it is the best type of oil versus getting some vegetable oil, for $5 in a big container. There's a reason it's that cheap. Because literally they used to run it in cars, like motor oil. Like, it's literally that bad. And your body cannot digest it properly, so therefore people develop all these issues. People feel sluggish. People have low energy. Again, guys, it's all by design, right? They want to keep you in the rat race. They want to keep you in the wheel, the hamster wheel, in the 9 to 5. But the healthier you eat, the better you'll feel, the more consistent you'll be, the clearer you'll think, the more optimistic you'll be. Again, it's a win-win, guys. Like, please just spend the extra money on good food, not on McDonald's, Burger King, Starbucks. Like, it's all BS, guys. Parasites is biohacking on top. Hey, appreciate it. Spiracos, 80% of food out there ain't real food, geez. Yep, 100%. Kalua says, Resolve, Hyperliquid Twitter actually called for a long. Nice. Resolve, I'm not sure about that. I can check it real quick. Interesting. It's doing really well. Let's look out on the 4 hour. It's getting a little overbought on the 4 hour, so just be careful with that. But I like the bounce here. First resistance around 30 cents. Yeah, between 30, 31 cents around there. And then your next big one's going to be around 40 cents. So those would be my two targets. Maybe take profit around 30. And then if it breaks it, look for a next take profit around 40. Bojan says, good entry for ETH before the next pump. That's arguable. Because, yes, it is crossing above its weekly 50 EMA at 2580. but it's still near resistance, near 2680 to 2700. So I would not be longing into resistance. Even if it breaks it and it turns out being a great trade, like I'm all about risk reward. And if the risk reward's not there, I'm not going to bet it. So I can't tell you guys to do it either. Kalua, if you have $100, my quality should be below 2%. Quantity. No, so per trade, if you're asking for leverage, if you have $100, you could do 5 to 10%. $5 to $10 per trade. Let's see. Hey, Golden Boy, no problem. Kalua, yep, there you go. Yeah, you got to put in some size to make some money. SPX chart breakdown. BlackRock has it as its third biggest investment on Arkham Intelligence. Wow. Okay, that's a big thing too. Thanks for that. That's a good point. Aptex has good entry in ETH. Let's see. Avi says, thank you, CryptoData. Awesome. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I know this was a long stream. I wanted to stay because you guys were asking a lot of good questions. If you guys aren't following me at the CryptoData on X, definitely do so. I'd really appreciate it, guys. Much love to all of you. I hope you guys have a great Monday. I hope these wars stop. Again, it's BS on both sides. It's just no reason for it. And so we need to end it. And hopefully we can do that. And then, again, get back to focusing on what matters. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great Monday. Have a great rest of the week. And